daybreak here on Arise News. Time for the press preview. A first look at what's on the front pages as they arrive. As usual, we'll begin with our sister publication This Day. Its leading headline this morning: oil theft. Kyari raises the alarm. Alleges threats to life. Let's take some riders there. He says NNPCL engaged private security contractors to curb theft. The country earned about $741 billion from oil, gas in 21 years. And daily oil production records 2 months high above 1 million barrels in October. That leading photo there of Mr. President with King Charles III in London when he went to pay him a visit at Buckingham Palace. 74 hospitalized, 70 vehicles damaged as thugs attack Atiku's campaign in Maiduguri. Meanwhile, the police says it's a lie. Nobody attacked that rally. Above the nameplate of This Day this morning, Wike G5 governors still open to reconciling with PDP leaders.
Well, the Punch newspaper is leading with that campaign rally in Bauchi, Borno rather. Controversy surrounds Atiku convoy attack in Borno. The former VP's convoy was attacked 3 times, scores injured, APC responsible. That's according to the PDP chairman. But again, the police are saying it's false. We wait to see how it pans out. And Khan recovers 307 billion naira debt. INEC to sanction 23 workers for illegal registration. And Buhari praised successful tenure for Nigerian Americans elected in the US. Of course, results are still coming in. The votes are still being counted in some states. Meanwhile, there's something interesting in Pennsylvania. The citizens there elected a dead man as a representative.
And we'll take a look at the headlines in the Nation newspaper this morning. Oil thieves threatening my life, says the NNPCL GMD. And Atiku promises to revive Lake Chad and fighting security. 8 Nigerians win in U.S. midterm polls. And 2023, Buhari predicts victory for Tinubu.
The Guardian Nigeria this morning: wasting assets. Experts doubt the federal government's capacity to fund the 20.51 trillion naira budget. Meanwhile, FEC approves teams to sell, reorder abandoned property. Anxiety in PDP as Wike's camp visit Bauchi governor. Meanwhile, President Buhari congratulates Nigerian Americans on victory at the U.S. midterm poll.
The leadership is something we all agree on, regardless who wins 2023 election. Tough times lie ahead, and that's a prediction from the Nigerian Economic Summit Group and ESG. Now, as crisis escalates, PDP leaders woo Jonathan to placate aggrieved governors. This is a picture of the British monarch King Charles III and President Muhammadu Buhari. And 8 Nigerian Americans win in U.S. midterm elections. Insecurity, or rather, speculators groan as the naira gains and sells at 780 naira to the dollar. Is that a gain?
And we take a look at some papers on the foreign scene. We look at the I paper. Number 10 clashes with nurses over 6 months of NHS strikes.
The Independent this morning: Donald Trump making the front page. Eyes on Trump as red wave slides away. Republicans made gains in the U.S. midterm elections, but the tide of support failed to materialize. Meanwhile, Russia orders troops to retreat from the key city of Kherson in Ukraine.
The Financial Times: Democrats avoid crushing defeat, but risk losing control of Congress. Of course, votes counting still underway in Arizona and Nevada. Meanwhile, in Georgia, there will be a runoff between Herschel Walker and the Reverend in December. Russia orders retreat from Kherson in new setback for Putin's war in Ukraine.
Now let's bring in Emmanuel Bello for the press preview. Thanks for joining us this morning. I think we'll begin one of the headlines in This Day this morning, and that's Atiku campaign in Maiduguri that report had it was marked by violence and attack on the candidate's convoy. But the police and the state is coming out to say, nothing of such did happen. What do we have playing out here? Bello.
Well, yeah, it's an interesting story because, especially because if you tie it to the one that happened in Kaduna, it's now becoming a pattern that the PDP candidates get attacked, and he's getting attacked in places that you don't expect those attacks. You don't expect that the PDP candidate Atiku Abubakar should be attacked in Kaduna or be in Borno. But again, some people say it's almost expected. These are strong. Borno is where the running mate of the APC is from. So this is like daring the tiger or the lion in his den and walking into those kind of places. So there are a lot of blames to go around. Of course, a lot of denials too. Already the APC in the state is saying that, look, it's a faction of the PDP that did this attack. So nobody is owning it. The police too, that is supposed to be the unbiased, witness in this whole thing, are saying that it didn't happen. But the campaign is insisting, even counting the damages, 74 people injured, 70 vehicles. Someone took his time to actually, count the damage. So. We saw that happen in Kaduna, and that wasn't denied because it was done so brazenly, the Kaduna attack. And then you have this. Like the report is saying, it goes against everything that has been signed by these candidates. Remember, in the peace accord, they all signed that this sort of things won't be happening, this kind of attacks on convoy, that people will be allowed to actually go to anywhere and campaign, but we're not seeing much of that. So the Kuka Committee, Absalom Committee, need to probably look into the INEC itself is worried about this sort of violence, attacking campaigns or convoys in what looks like enemy territory. Well, I think it's up to the candidates, it's up to the campaigns, and most importantly, up to the security forces to be able to look into this to see how in advance, before the coming of any campaign, they're able to secure the spaces so that there will be peaceful campaigns.
PDP, Wike G5 governors are still open to reconciling with PDP leaders, but their actions are saying the opposite, aren't they?
So you could see what looks like a little shifting, as if the wicked G5 camp is shifting. Someone even noted yesterday that it looks as if it's actually an attempt. They are the one, they are trying to reach out for some kind of peace accord now. It's not the sort of language you were hearing like 2-3 weeks back when it was all, fireworks from Wike. Seem to have turned down a bit, and then that's apology too by Autumn seem to have weakened their base a little bit because Autumn was so excited the other day and was almost talking out of turn, saying that he will never support Atiku, and he made a swipe also at the Fulani people generally, almost like a general assault on the Fulani nation. He's retracted that and said he's sorry that he didn't mean it that way. It's not the sort of thing you hear from that camp, that G5 camp. You don't hear too much of apologies or even what sounded like some kind of placatory kind of comments from Wike, who is saying, look, there's still room for reconciliation. So it's opening some sort of window or some sort of closed door, some sort of door for any kind of reconciliation. Bala Mohammed too sounded as if he's going to play that role of reconciling them. Though another story, some people say that former President Jonathan is actually playing that role too. So it's just this giving what some people think that at the end of the day, politicians find a way to get around some of this issue. And those who expect that the G5 will continuously fight or with Atiku are probably having a rethink now, especially now that Wike is saying that, look, there's still some possibility of some kind of reconciliation. And yes, Nkechi, you're right. The body language does not suggest that, but we're hearing this now from Wike saying, look, there's still room for some kind of reconciliation. And then you have Otom there saying, look, I'm sorry for attacking you, Mr. Atiku. It gives some kind of hope to the Atiku campaign that maybe, just maybe, if they're able to get around some of this, can be some kind of reconciliation.
The presidential candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party is taking his campaign to the southeast Enugu state, and is asking Nigerians to vote him because he's got the solution. And in the Labour Party, Peter Obi has been campaigning in the food basket of the nation. He says we will return Benue to being Nigeria's food basket. Something that we all agree on are the challenges that will be coming in 2023, the economic challenges, that is. And here is the chief of Nigeria's oil company, Kyari, raising the alarm, alleging threat to life.
Sorry, Ken, I'm getting a little bit of some difficulties here, but I picked one or two things you said about the obese promise to in Benue. He said the right thing there by saying that he's going to ensure that Benue remains the food basket of the nation, because I mean that's the moniker of Benue State, food basket of the country. And in his campaign promises, he's saying that look, he's just going to ensure that that's what Otomse has been attacked. That those attacks in the bushes, those farms attacked by Fulani headsmen, and he likes to make a huge case of it, has affected the food basket, and that the Benue State might be losing that, and that's very important. A lot of people have actually said this is happening, that we're faced with a crisis of food, basically because farmers can't even get to farm in the first place, one. Two, and even when they get there, they have to actually grapple with the crisis of flooding and all the other natural disasters, beyond the fact that they have to deal with herdsmen who attack these farms all the time. So with this promise, it's tied to also the issue of security. And yes, so speaking of security, the MD, the leadership of the apex body of the oil company in Nigeria is saying that his life is in danger. That's a very serious report. But in it too is the good news that look, we're doing well now, that we have cut down on those oil theft. Remember that this year, the whole of this year is dedicated reporting around the issue of oil theft. And now from what he's saying, and from in that report, he's saying that look, although his life is in danger, but we are recording some serious gains as we stop or we try to cut down on those thefts that have actually affected the kind of earnings we're supposed to earn from the oil sector, and it's affecting the economy in a very terrible way. Sadly, he said that's the price he has to pay for the kind of push he's making on behalf of the federal government. And I think this is a very serious thing. But just also tell you how serious the problem is, the problem of oil theft and the grand scale that it has gone, or the industrial scale or dimension it's taken, and the kind of powerful forces and powerful people involved. Gives you a sense of how serious and endemic the problem is, and also the kind of dangerous dimension it has taken, and the effort made to actually stem the tide of those thefts.
But on Nigeria's electoral regulatory body, INEC, is sanctioning 23 of its staffs for illegal registration. INEC is seen to be in the news lately a lot on various grounds, and this is a cause for concern. 23 staff of INEC being sanctioned for illegal registration.
Well, yeah, Benny, is the INEC story. Yes, very important story. We need to be we need to look at whatever INEC is doing now is going to be front page story going forward, because that's the umpire. We need to worry about what they're saying. The other day, it was the fact that they were complaining about logistics around the issue of flooding, and now they are going to they are looking inwards to say that they read the agency of bad eggs, those who've done some illegal kind of registration. So these are all good news. We need to know that this INEC is working very well, because at the end of the day, it's going to come down to this umpire. So it has to be as impartial as it can get. It has to be as professional as it must get. It has to be as effective too as it must get, because the elections probably will come down to what INEC is doing or is not doing, and this is very important. And that is why we need to put our eyes on INEC, its impartiality, its professionalism. We put to text, and of course its efficiency too. and Professor Mahmoud is doing everything in his power to give that impression that, look, we're on top of the situation. He's complaining where he needs to complain, but he's taking serious action where those actions are needed.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel Bello. That's the press preview. Let's hear your view on all the burning issues. Follow us on Twitter at Arise TV. You can join today's conversation using the hashtag AriseDaybreak.